Last time on Repairing History Together.
We have built this country together. We have overcome adversity of barbaric principles that we now look back on and criticize. We're in the freest place on earth. All of us work together. There ain't no laws against black people. There ain't no law in the book that applies to black people and white people differently. Matter of fact, if you discriminate against somebody criminally, that's a hate crime. It's against the law. We need to stop all this stuff, man. We need to come together. We need to start focusing on individuality. We need to try to better our country in the ways that we can. And for all you cowards out there that don't want to do nothing together and you want to just sit on the sideline and bash everybody and talk about white privilege, just stay on the sideline, man.
It's time to take a stand and repair our history. Thomas Sowell has shown us the way. It's time to start winning reality. We've been divided for far too long. It's time to come together and be strong. We can learn from our mistakes and make a brighter future for everyone. We have the power to make a change. All it takes is courage and faith. So let's stand up for what's right and make history together.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings, winners, and welcome to Repairing History Together. I'm your host, Winning Reality. I hope you're all living well. Cool gamer, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Talking Trash and Truths, how's it going? Rolling on in here. We got a good show for y'all tonight. Damn good show. We got we're gonna be talking about and let me get back in here in the groove. We're gonna be talking about an interesting topic that came up a few weeks back when I had my last panel on the show. And I hadn't heard of this term, and then I realized that it's kind of crept its way out and about. It's called post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Yes, and thank you for we're gonna be talking about that tonight. We're gonna find out that it's a fairly interesting topic. We're gonna dive into that and let the one person who came up with it themselves tell us about it in their own words. Let me kind of get a few things here rolling on the side. Oh, let me see. Oh, yeah, this is what I wanted to do right here. And go over to here. All right. Now I got that up. All right. We got 5. Get the memberships from Talking Trash and Truths. All right. Ali Grenade, Pixie 78, Leslie Kohler, They Call Me Rose, and Madcore TV. Welcome to the winner's circle. Happy to have you guys here. And just for you, here you go.
It's cold up there in Vietnam. It has to choose. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's cold. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. Gonna try to get out of anything thing.
There you go. Welcome to the winner's circle. See, that's a nice harmonious group right there. Everybody's getting along, singing about corn. You know, we do live in as Brandon Tatum was telling us on the intro there, we do live in a harmonious world. However, there's a lot of people out there who would like to change that. And that's going to be the second part of our show. It's called Race Grifting. We're going to dive into that. Let's look at some current events and a few familiar callbacks on that as well. But I hope you guys are doing good out there. Going out there. I know there's a lot going on today. I'm happy that you're here. Maybe you chose a little bit of time to try to repair some history, get to the bottom of what's going on, what really divides people out in the world today. It divides us by, as we said, the color at the race. T-Rex Trucking and more. How you doing? Welcome to the show, sir. Happy that you're here. I know you're driving down the East Coast this evening. I'm glad you decided to tune in for your listening enjoyment. Because this is an interesting topic. And we're really going to let the author of this whole shenanigan speak to us in her own words. And actually, this whole PTSS thing came up on the stream when it was Gary Walls P and 360 Smooth, and they brought it up, right? But they didn't say much about it. Oh, yeah, there's that, right? And I'd never heard of it before. So, like I do, if it's a new thing, I go and I research it and figure out what in the world they're talking about, right? And I come back and talk about it. I didn't really get too much into it that night because I hadn't heard of it before. So upon my doing this research, it helped me figure out why I hadn't heard of it before. Because it's very, I wouldn't say it's new, but it's starting to make its rounds. And it's really just been propagated by one lady who came up with it herself. But as you can tell, it made it all the way to those three, to the knowledge of those three fellas that were on the show. So they knew about it. They knew of it, right? And so it's gotten at least that far around. Now, what is post-slavery, post-traumatic slavery syndrome, right? Well, it's this idea that blacks today Americans of African descent today are still suffering because of slavery from way, way back when here in the U.S. And she's very specific about her terminology. She has her message very groomed, and it said she's talking about this particular type of slavery that was here. And we're going to be able to dissect all our points as we go through tonight. And then we're going to get to the second half of the show where we kind of look into this race grifting thing. Now, I've always said that the race baiters are the real racists out there today. They're the ones who keep perpetuating it and keep it alive and well. And they're always looking to call something racist or take a situation and spin it into a racial situation when it isn't. And it's one of the biggest problems that we face today in trying to heal division is that there's this whole group of people, both Americans of African descent and Americans of European descent, that together are both working to keep this alive. Yet they give the illusion that they're trying to do something about it, like by fabricating it in most cases, right? By exaggerating it in most cases, that somehow, and by segregating in this benign way, right? That they are somehow fixing the issue, that they're somehow on top of it, and this is going to help generations of people get past this sore that just won't seem to heal. Well, there's a reason, and I've said this since the beginning of the show, that it doesn't heal. It's because they don't want it to heal. Those are the people who want to keep us nice and divided and at each other's throat. They don't want it to go away. Much like the illusion or the fabricated story that the parties switched sides after the Civil War and that all the racists ran over to the right, you know, that wasn't true. Yeah, people still gravitate towards and believe. Hey, Daisy girl, how you doing? Welcome to the show. She says, hello, all. Hello. Happy that you're here. I'm locking this one in, that people kind of make their way in this evening. And so there's this long, I'll go into it in more detail because I'm going to debunk the hell out of that the party switched at some point after slavery. And so all the racists ran over to the right. Well, that never happened. That's just a story they tell for suckers to believe so they can feel good about voting for the party of the Ku Klux Klan over there on the left. and we're supposed to just believe this, that they automatically switch. Well, when you switch party, it's also switching platforms, ideologies, everything. I mean, it's a big switch. It's not just something that you would just do on a whim and then decide, oh yeah, we're going to do this because of racism. Right. No, that what happened is the racists on the left that switch strategies. And that is because they have the elitist mindset. Now, elitism allows you to basically switch sides whenever you want, because everybody is beneath you when you're an elitist. So when you have an elitist mindset, everybody's beneath you. And so it doesn't matter whether you're siding with them or using them. Hey, Lex, how you doing? Welcome. They're just there for your convenience. That's the elitist mindset. So that's why you can see the party of the Ku Klux Klan and racism itself perpetuating it still today, but wearing the mask of friendship and tolerance and so on. It's one big giant scam. But as we go by, and this is why we need to repair history, the history gets overwritten, it gets forgotten, it gets weeded out, right? So then the lore and the fallacies take their place. That's why so many people walking around that can consciously vote for the party of the Klan, and while we're claiming not to be racist. And that's why so many racists can be on the left and undermine any type of division or any type of harmony by saying that they completely and wholeheartedly are in support of minorities and others in this country. That's the game they play, and the higher ups in that party all knew it. And you can see how over time they've switched their positions. Biden was a big segregationist, and he still is. He just is now. He's doing it with the new twist on it, the new play on words, the new control over language, the new strategy. So within that, you have a bunch of other people that kind of catch on, or just by osmosis become part of it. They find their own ways to grift into this whole racial thing. And I believe what we're going to look at tonight is one of those big racial grifts. Now, of course, I'm going to leave it up to you to decide. And we're going to let the author of this philosophy, this theory called post-traumatic slavery syndrome. It's a take on PTSD, of course. And she does draw some comparisons to the two. And she really kind of like downplays the PTSD part too. It doesn't give it enough credit. But this is wait till you see the angst in this woman. She has this thing so down pat. She's been doing it for a long time. This is her grift. This is her way to do it. And she gets speaking engagements, and she gets to try to win the hearts and minds of people out there and gets the platform because, she's a frantic woman who is out there talking about this serious subject. And she's the mastermind of. She's figured it all out. So without further ado, let's introduce her, and let me get my video ready here. And let's get the introduction. And you'll see if you ever do a search on this topic, by the way, there's not a lot out there. And it's only been addressed by like Laura Chen and I think myself. I don't know. I think I might be the second person to talk about it. As far as debunking it or retorting it goes, it's that and this woman. Hey, Patrick Kennedy, how you doing? Welcome. Oh man, you're all good. Welcome. Yeah, you'll see that she has this long-term strategy with this thing. She's just grinding it in. Her name is Joy DeGroy. So, yeah, I think that's right. DeGroy. Let me make sure I got that right. Joy DeGroy. Yeah, that's her name. It rhymes. Her name rhymes. All right, let's get this up here. All right, and so we're gonna break this down. We're gonna go slowly through this. I'm gonna stop it frequently and talk about her points as they come up, so we can kind of make this work. And then, like I said, in the second half, we're gonna look into the what's going on at that Kansas City, the kid in Kansas City. If you haven't heard about that, and we're gonna look into a little bit more on what race grifting is. So here we go. To add it, there it is. Okay, it's right there. And then I'm gonna do this one. Here we go. Oh, the 2B Flair. What's going on? Thank you for continuing to share this information and continuing to inspire deeper consciousness. You're good at. Thank you, 2B Flair. How you been? Haven't seen you in a while. Chris, what's up? Man, I haven't seen you all. So hey, look, you know, you might not have seen this, but you get a little video here. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much, Chris. What's up? How you doing? Welcome. We're just getting started, and we're going to talk about post-traumatic slave syndrome. How different is it from PTSD? So this is a good rundown of what it is, though. And here we go.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome is an explanatory theory that really looks at multi-generational trauma.
Like I said, I'm going to stop it a lot during this. Thanks, Flair. Thank you for being here. Hope you're doing well. So she said it's an explanatory theory. I love the word doublespeak that goes on. The words this woman makes up is hilarious. And wait till you hear some of the takes she has on why she believes this is a real thing. Right? Here we go. It's again, she says multi-generational trauma. So the idea that generations back trauma can be handed down, and you'll see how she pieces this together, right? So that's the basis of this. This is the premise of this theory.
At multi-generational trauma.
Social work research, and clinical psychology. Okay.
One of the things that's difficult for people is their first response is, oh my God, that happened so long ago. We're talking about people being captured, shipped, sold, beaten, raped, experimented on.
Okay, hold on. This is the first thing I caught right here. Hold on. Experimented on. Now, the experiment, I guess she's showing this picture of slavery, right? And she's talking about slave syndrome. However, the experimented on part didn't happen until long after. This is talking about the Tuskegee experiments, right? Didn't happen until long after slavery. So she's kind of like worked that in there, right? And I think that hey Jacob, how you doing? Welcome. And also captured, shipped, sold. These are all definites, right? The beat and rape, that happened to some, not all. It wasn't like everybody got a licking and everybody got a ticking, right? So yes, there was some of that went on. And there were some other things that went on we'll talk about too. However, you know, again, I just pay attention to when it's a theory and someone's presenting a premise of the points they make to try to hold it up. Does it really hold up? Does it really stand up, right? So Patrick says, so this is an American focused chat. There is a wide world out there. There's with a bunch of history. Let's not be small-minded. Yeah, we won't. I promise that.
On. And then you have to ask the question, did the trauma continue? Yes. So 300 years of trauma, no help, freed.
No help, freed. There was no, this is again, the one thing I noticed about this theory is that it's so generalized, right? Like it's so generalized. Like she takes things from a very wide perspective and just assumes that it's all the same. No help. Like the Civil War wasn't a help, right? The end of the slave trade wasn't a help. And actually, slavery is still active in Africa today. As you run down some of the dates about when slavery ended and so on, you find that that's the last places that it was ever completely stopped is back in Africa. It still goes on in some places. So for a group that was so adamant against it, you'd think that it would have stopped there. But see, Blair would have been fun to hang out whenever her husband is a lucky guy. Be thankful for sharing and giving a compliment instead of telling someone that they suck, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Flair's awesome. She's a friend. All right. So no help, right? So they're saying that over the course of times, no one's tried to help anybody, I guess, and maybe address the trauma. I don't know. She really likes to harp on this word, so pay close attention to this.
no help, more trauma. If it's a sustained trauma, then the impact of that is also sustained. When we look at multi-generational trauma, we're looking at people who are maybe victims of natural disasters and their families and their children and generations.
Okay, we're looking at people who are victims of natural disasters. So natural disasters like that happened multi-generations ago are still affecting us today. Has anybody here ever known any family that has been part of a natural disaster, and are you still feeling their pain? This is where the fallacies start to roll out in this argument, and it just amazes me how long she's been able to do this. But and that people actually will pick up on it just because of the terminology used. So I think the psychology part of her background is really coming into play here because she really knows how to kind of manipulate minds with words. You'll see as it goes along, it kind of gets worse. But literally, bully Lincoln into signing the Emancipation Proclamation early. Oh man, yeah. There's a little bit. I think they've got a little bit of help. But now we're talking about people that have experienced natural disasters. Now I've been in an earthquake, so do I have trauma? I've been through hurricanes. Those are natural disasters, right? I mean, they're events, I guess. I'm still not feeling the trauma yet, but wait,
war.
like Shelly, your family comes from Italy, right? Isn't that Pompeii in Italy? Then that when there a volcano that went off, and you feeling trauma? You feeling trauma from the Pompeii eruption? I don't know. Okay, so here we go. War,
and we know that there are residual mental, emotional, traumatic impact. And what I did was I started to look at.
So she knows that there's traumatic impact from natural disasters and wars. So we know that. Like that's not. Yeah, I would imagine the people who actually went through it, it was devastating. Like Katrina was a natural disaster, and a lot of people suffered from that, right? So, okay, so they have trauma. I'll go with that. And then this is what she did.
At the African American experience, starting with slavery as a real clear, long enduring trauma. So I started to see that there were clear connections between that survival behavior and contemporary living in African American experience. I started to see common behaviors that I took for granted as, well, cultural. There's adaptive behaviors, survival behaviors. Well, what are they? Let's just say 2019, you have a black mother and a white mother. The sons go to school together. They find themselves at a meeting. The black mother leans over to the white mother and says, I just wanted to mention to you that I noticed that your son is really doing quite well. And the white mother's response is, oh, thank you. She begins to go on and on about he won the science fair, his uncle's an astronaut. She's just oozing. She realizes the black mother's son is actually excelling her son. And she says, well, wait a minute. Your son's the one that's really coming along. And the black mother responds, oh my God, he's a handful, but oh, he just works my nerves. Now,
anybody find anything wrong with that explanation so far? Right? Is this an every time occurrence that happens? Right? Is this what's happening every time two women are having conversations about their children? I can tell you straight up. All right, I'll tell you straight up. My son has played soccer since he was at a tiny tyke. Since he was the very first year you can get in, he's played soccer, right? And we were very lucky to be on he was very lucky to have grown up with a couple of kids that were one of the dads was the coach, and so they kept them on the same rec team every year, and they grew up playing the same team every year, and they were the most dominant rec team in their age group every year. They just literally they went undefeated like 2 seasons or something like that. They literally beat up everybody. They beat academy teams that would come down to play them, and they didn't even know they weren't even being trained up like academy teams, right? Well, one of the kids on the team is black, and we could automatically see the talent in this kid from a very young age. He was super fast, super quick, and he could smack that ball, man. He could hit goals like you wouldn't believe. He did so many amazing things. It was just a thrill to watch him play, and everybody would be telling him, man, your kid is so talented, man. You're he's going to be going places. He's going. They never once said, oh, but he's such a handful. And no, like that. No, like I would hear his dad say, yeah, he's always out there with the ball, working on things. He's always trying to get better, even though he's the best kid on the team. That's what I kept hearing. And guess what? He now plays for the the academy team for the Atlanta Major League team, right? So he's already on his way. He's what, 13 now, so he'll like 4 years, 5 years from now, he'll be eligible to play on a professional soccer team, and he's right there where he needs to be. You know, so keep that in mind.
Now, when I'm working with African American people, it doesn't matter what the audience is. It doesn't matter what class. If I were to ask, is she very proud while she's saying those denigrating things? And everybody laughs and goes, of course. There's a secret. Because everybody Black knows that even though the Black mother is going, oh my God, she's really proud. So now let's roll that scene back 300 years. And let's say this Black mother is working in the fields, and a white slave owner comes through and says, wow, that boy is really coming along. What is she going to say? No, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He can't work. Because I don't want you to sell him.
Really? Well, it could have been many different color white slave owners back in the day, but I guess predominantly white, are of European descent, right? However, I don't think that what the mother had to say would have prevented the sale. And then not that they really actually ever, like, it wasn't like a breeding farm, right? These things that they were doing, people would buy the amount of slaves they needed, and then they would repropagate, I guess, their slaves in-house, so they'd have to buy them again. But evidently, the idea here is that every time a white slave owner would pay a compliment to a young kid during slavery, it meant that they were priming them to be sold. Again, this is the fallacies this woman's building her case off of. But I guess she's relying on people not being able to catch on to them or something. What do you guys think so far? Let's see. What's the conversation going here in chat? See, forgotten history. We've revisited. See, it's not exclusively to slaves in Africa. Slavery happened. Yeah, we know that. But these rape Christians need to stop. Yeah, I hear you, Patrick. Yeah, we've been covering the fact that it was the early series we did, Repairing History, the one before Repairing History Together, was an exclusive kind of rundown of all the Thomas Sowell content that repaired the history, that went in there and put them in a faction about the fact that slavery was, spans way back. In fact, I'm going to go into some like really ancient slavery here in a little bit with another point. But yeah, everybody's been part of it, and everybody's been a victim of it, right? So there's nobody gets off free here. But in this day and age, it's such a divisive topic that it's being used in order to divide people, to cause crime, to cause chaos, to cause abuse, because it works so sweet and nice in this country, because we had that Civil War, because we had that history of bringing slaves into this country to help build it up, right? So for labor, right? And we have that history to pick on, and that's like, that's one of the things that the people who are always trying to disrupt and take over and run for power will always pick at the wounds of the nation. In some nations it's religion, in some nations it's other things. It's just that they'll find the wound and they'll pick at it, and our wound here is slavery. So even though we denounce it today, even though there's, like Brandon Tatum said in the intro, there's no laws against Black people, right? Everything's equal opportunity, equal chances. They're finding ways to make it so that we are still in this slave owner paradigm, where the oppressor and the victim. And this is really about making victims, right? It's really about her own inadequacies and her own victim mentality, and then trying to propagate that victim mentality. This is what I think so far from just studying this stuff. Because I don't think so. I don't find Lincoln a particularly interesting historical figure. His accomplishments are well overstated. Okay, we're getting to a Lincoln talk there. Let's see. What's it? White mom is proud and Black mom is complaining about behavior. I was in education 11 years, and never once did any mother ever put down their kid when they were complimented. Well, there you go. There's firsthand knowledge. But you sure? Because she's convinced that's how it is for everybody. At least that's how she's pulling it across. That reality. Have you ever seen the documentary When Blacks Owned Too Many Slaves? No. That sounds really great, man. I'll check that out. I haven't heard of that. Let me write that down. I like to look into that. I'm always looking for new content here. I'll check that out, Chris. Thank you for the suggestion. All right. So she's convinced that, that's why he's a handful. I don't, maybe the father's not in the house. I don't know. But I don't know. This one particular thing is making her point here, I guess. Let's just let her keep
So I
going. Whoops. I love it when I overclick there. There we go.
denigrate them to protect them.
Oh, look at she's smiling. I denigrate you. Sorry, baby. I'm sorry. You suck. And I'm just doing it to protect you. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Mama, why you always denigrate me? I'm protecting you, baby. That's what I'm doing.
That is called appropriate adaptation. When living
Appropriate adaptation. She said it like it was so profound too. That's called appropriate adaptation, right? She took the word appropriate and she put it in front of adaptation, meaning that's the right kind of thing to do. That's the right way to adapt. People are buying into this, guys. I'm not kidding you.
in a hostile environment, the little white boy, say Timmy, he feels really comfortable and happy about what his mom just said about him. And Trey looks at his mom and wonders, why can't you be proud of me?
But she didn't explain this at the house. Hey, look, I got to protect you so they don't sell you. It's just ingrained, and it's ingrained from 500 years ago. We still think like that. No, I mean, I've never heard of such a thing in my life. In fact, if anything, people brag on their kids, they promote their kids, they want to get their kids. I tell you what, if Trey was like throwing 50-yard bombs or like slam dunking the basketball, mom would be out there like he's the best on the team. Yeah, he'd be talking to the college scouts, all that stuff. I doubt she'd be like, he's a handful. You don't want to bring him to your college. Hell no. Hell no. Come on now, lady.
Because he doesn't understand the secret yet. And by the time he learns
The secret,
he will have already been injured by it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
she's so proud of herself. She is so proud of herself. I mean, come on, dude. I'm making my kid sound like he's a monster to keep him from being of value and sold. That was 150 years ago. Why would anyone continue to do this now? It makes no sense at all, right? Oh, let me continue to tread so no one believes in my kid. Not even my kid. Stop. All right. Jacob says, what a despicable, disingenuous, what is that? Cats? The pseudo-intellectualism is disgusting. Yeah, isn't it? Wait till you see the pivot at the end. The pivot is not surprising. Yes, it's the secret. Yeah, it's the secret. Manifesting destiny here with the secret. Poor Trey.
PTSD is a disorder that occurs as a result of a single trauma. You don't even have to be there to actually get a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. You could just hear about something horrific happening to someone you love.
Well, that's kind of a shot to the veterans right there. Like anybody can have that. Yeah, who cares about that? PTSD and shit. You can just hear about it and get it.
So you have people who have experienced it firsthand, people who have witnessed it in their environment, right? People who are continuing to be oppressed. That exacerbates any possibility of healing. So it's not post-traumatic stress disorder, because then it becomes part of what we call your socialization process. So you begin to normalize a way of living and being, everything from what we eat to what we believe it means to be a friend. All of these things are colored by history. And if you don't understand it, you're going to fold in things that you've just assumed are normal. But post-traumatic stress disorder.
Or if your history's shit and has a bunch of omitted facts in it, you're going to fold that in too. Kind of like this woman's done. Their whole little scam of a lifetime. She's written books. She does like speaking tours. She's got people, black folks all over the place buying into this stuff. Now she ain't that popular, and I don't think it's that widespread, but I have heard it brought up. So it gets brought into conversations. People are like, yeah, that's real. You know, no, it's not. Like a lot of them haven't even looked into it, but they hear it and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah. Or they hear part of it, right? They don't really listen to the discussions too much. Let me see how many times this video has been viewed. Okay. 1.62 million subscribers. It's been viewed about 356,000 times. That's about how many times my Alex Jones, Mike Tyson interview has been viewed. So there you have it.
You know, exaggerated startle response, outbursts of anger, feeling of foreshortened future. Exaggerated startle response, normal. But post-traumatic stress disorder, you know, exaggerated startle response,
exaggerated startled response,
outbursts of anger,
outburst of anger. Okay, can anybody help me explain to me what an exaggerated startled response is? Is that like when is that like you guys ever watched Little Rascals? Like you guys remember like when they'd be in a haunted house and like Stymie and Buckwheat would like see a ghost or something like that and they get that face? I don't know what is she talking about? Exaggerated startled response. Oh my God, I'm getting the hell out of here. It's a ghost. That's all I can think of. Stop, dropping cover. What is it? Is that a cat? Get that cat away from me. I've seen that one before. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, and Black's enslaved to me, right? Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Yeah. Okay. I actually want to I'll take a look at that. Cool. I've been wanting to look into that too, because Thomas Sowell tells us that that there was far more white slaves owned in that day. I'm trying not to use colors, but it's really hard. Back in that slave trade era than ever came to the United States. So I'm anyway, that's what I was thinking. Like I'm probably, because you know I'm white, is probably like I'm still feeling trauma from that event, and that's probably what's going on right now. I'm still feeling the trauma. It's outrageous, and that's why I have exaggerated startle response and I have outbursts of anger. Hey man, you came to the right place. This is gonna be very infuriating. Secondly, sounds strikingly similar to symptoms of fatherless upbringing. Oh man, you know, I never draw the correlation of that, but yes, it does.
feeling of foreshortened future.
Feeling of foreshortened future. Hey, Xander, how's it going, man? How's it going? Yo, Xander, welcome. Feelings of foreshortened future. Like y'all ever feel like foreshortened future?
There was a point where there were African American children in different urban settings.
Nothing specific here. Nothing specific here, right?
That didn't expect to live to be adults because they saw so much death.
They listened to it in rap music. I think that's what it is. Now here we go. We got hands up, don't shoot. Now everybody knows this never happened, right? We all know that there's no hands up, don't shoot. That never happened. It was more propaganda put out there to trigger people with low information into activism. And we'll talk a little bit more about that probably on this show or on Unveiling Reality. I've come across some like really interesting connections lately in terms of how the first veil mind control has really been working and what it's doing and how we kind of spawn into some of the other things. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm still working on getting the whole thing together, but I'm going to wrap some things up and kind of like look at these people that have breaks, right? They break from reality and they just, you know, we've seen a lot of them lately. But we've seen them a lot over time. They break from reality and do mass harm events, right? And I think I'm starting to find I've always been kind of keeping my eye on it, and I know a lot of other people that have been trying to draw correlations to it as well. So I listen to them, but I also have been trying to put my own I'm trying to come up with my own reason, or like at least try to see how it fits into what I've been talking about. I think I've kind of found a correlation here. That's what I'm saying. I'm my own correlation here. I think I've found something that kind of pieces it together a little bit, just based on the results, right? So going by the results of what we see. But I'll bring that up another time. But just I've been thinking about it and been meaning to bring it up. But recent events have given me some of the final pieces of the puzzle, I think, and I just we're going to share that eventually. So a couple weeks maybe talking about that. The Omni Coalition. Okay, I know that's both y'all. Okay, cool. Welcome. Eosander and the Omni Coalition. Hands up, don't shoot, knees on neck. Neighborhood jogger, innocent kid, Martin. All were lies. Yeah. Well, the moving knee, right? But we all knew at the time it was an overdose. And that guy got stabbed the other day too, by the way, in jail. All to feed the narrative, right? But that's what we're gonna talk about, the race grifting coming up. I am walking this through very slowly, by the way, because I don't have a lot of video content, and I want to kind of dig into each point she's making. The next parts are just some pretty funny ones, so just bear with me. We're gonna have some fun with this.
That they started planning their funerals like at 13, 12.
13-year-old planning their funeral. 13, 12, as young as 10 were planning their funerals, even though they couldn't pay for them.
As young as 10. When you start looking at the simple biology, you start looking at the impact of stress on health. And while
the simple biology, the impact of stress on health, which affects all of us. Oh, I know, Alexander. I remember from talking to you last night. You're telling me about that.
we look at general stress, we know finances, you have illnesses, all these different things. How about
Everybody
being
has.
Black?
Oh, she said it. Is there a stress to just being Black?
How does factoring in being Black in America impact your stress level and therefore your body's ability to operate its own immune system? Because we know it compromises the immune system. Once you understand it, then you can deal with it, because you see it's habitual. You socialize, it becomes part of your being. So one,
do you think part of the stress is the fact that ladies like this are running around telling them they have trauma disorders from way back in slavery? You think that that's it? You think that the mainstream media and the left and the white liberals that are out there running around perpetuating racism here in the year 2023, almost 2024? Do you think that may be part of the stress? Do you think that the social engineering, the fatherless homes may be part of the stress? Is it just slavery from multi-generations ago? That's the stress? Or is it's just like she minimizes at points to such a degree and then generalizes to such a degree. There's no exact, she never hits the target.
one of the ways you begin to address that multi-generational trauma is to work with the people it directly impacts, to hear from them. And when you give the people the information, they can use it. I think the first order of business is beginning to have a conversation. And the other is to educate the larger society.
So to start to have the conversation and then buy my book. Listen to this. Hey, Madcore, how you doing, man? Welcome. Happy that you're here. We're talking about post-traumatic slavery syndrome and how I understand what she's saying. You need a 17th vaccine that will fix the problem. So yeah, what about the IRS? Yeah, no. I told him to say that's what I would say to her. Then we all got it. Then. But no, she was gonna roll it back to just the color, because that's what she does, because she's from the left. And as you'll just see, her pivot here in a minute is astounding. It's astounding.
You have to stop the assault. So this is not purely a clinical thing. This requires social justice and change.
Boom. There it is. There it is. Yep. You guessed it. Social justice warrior. Here she comes. Not just clinical. You got to get out there and march and shout about it and make sure that everybody they know that white people are racist. All right, here we go.
That's where part of the healing is. It's not in a clinical setting or in a pill. It's in fairness and justice.
Remember the intro for the night tonight? Should I play it again? I think I'm going to play it again after this.
Safety and equity. We got to work with some of those clinical things, some of those issues of panic and anxiety. And we also have to deal with the fact that you have a system that is set up to oppress you and to continue to injure you. Both those things have to be dealt with. And they cannot.
Set up. It's set up. The system is set up to do that. That is the goal of the system, guys. It's set up to hurt and injure the black folks. it's set up to do that, according to this lady. You know, I don't think that, and I know there's plenty of other rational human beings in this world of all colors that don't believe that. It's just bullshit, but she does, and boy, does she believe it. I mean, she is selling it. She got her fingers up. She got her shell ring right there. She is selling hard, baby. She's selling hard.
Singularly by themselves affect a change. They have to be done collectively.
Collectivism. All right, there we go. So just I don't even have to go look for this, but I'm just gonna say, Brandon Tatum.
Last time on Repairing History Together.
We have built this country together. We have overcome adversity of barbaric principles that we now look back on and criticize. We're in the freest place on earth. All of us work together. There ain't no laws against black people. There ain't no law in the book that applies to black people and white people differently. Matter of fact, if you discriminate against somebody criminally, that's a hate crime. It's against the law. We need to stop all this stuff, man. We need to come together. We need to start focusing on individuality. We need to try to better our country in the ways that we can. And for all you cowards out there that don't want to do nothing together and you want to just sit on the sideline and bash everybody and talk about white privilege, just stay on the sideline, man.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I mean, honestly, dude. Oh man. I mean, it's like, okay, look, it gets worse. We're gonna keep up. We're gonna let her keep burying herself here, man. Let me put this up.
There's a
This is now look. This is from 7 years
post-traumatic
ago.
slave
Sorry.
syndrome is an explanatory theory that really
Stop. I know what I'm doing. I do this every time. This is from 7 years ago. All right. And the one we just watched, I think, was from 4 years ago. So she's been out there, Joy DeGruy. She's been out there selling this bunk for a long time, man. And that's why it's made its way around. She makes money. She sells books. It's all a grift.
there's a kind of a fundamental
Listen to this.
basis
Listen to
for
this part.
post-traumatic slave syndrome. How many of you are familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder? But when we start talking about chattel slavery,
Chattel slavery. Now, this is the one. This is another term I had to look up and understand, right? This is another one I had to look up. Now, this is like when you it just goes beyond the treating people as property. It's into the idea that they are beneath you as an inferior race. So this has kind of been blended into the idea of slavery here in the U.S. This is where they start to delineate and say, well, there was a different kind of slavery here, and other people treated their slaves better than they did here in the U.S. I mean, I think they've always had different degrees of how slaves were treated. Like if you go back, okay, now let's. I told you I was going to go back. I was going to go back to when the Jews were enslaved by the Egyptians, right? Back in the Bible days. We were talking about this in the group earlier, and you know how that was very, very harsh, grueling conditions. They were whipped, they were worked to death, they were worked into the ground basically and treated like animals themselves, right? I don't know any place on earth where the slaves are treated like, equals or treated like extremely great, right? I've never heard of the posh slaves. Man, I got it made, man. I got it made. And it's just like but I think that there was different degrees, like more talented, more literate, more capable may have been had a little better quarters. I know that they had some slaves were just for housework, right? Or for housework or to keep the other slaves in line. They get privileges. Basically got privileges. They got treated better. They got kept in maybe better health or better quarters or better food or something like that. The ones in the house got especially good treatment because you had to be trusted around, the very, very sensitive areas. You got your food, you got your sleeping quarters, you got all kinds of things where you needed to be able to trust the ones around. So you treated them better, right? That's pretty much how it worked at all times. So going back to the Egyptian slavery days for the Jews, they had some of them were very skilled at what they did, and they had skills that needed to be, the others didn't have. So those skills, the people with the skills were treated better, because honestly, they wanted to keep that skill set alive and well. And they couldn't just expend them like they could some of the manual laborers, right? So there was a big difference in treatment all throughout. And I bet if I were to dig into it, you'd see that kind of like better treatment going on. Now, in parts, there is the Arabic slave trade where they take blacks and castrate the men. They castrate certain men, right? So that's very barbaric. I would think that, hey, I'll go to America rather than go with the Arabs. If I was over there and have to make a choice, which way you want to go? You want to go west or east? I was like, well, I'll go west. I don't want to go east, man. No, I don't want to go east because, man, that talk about harsh conditions, man. And at least you got your package with you, man. Anyways, let's hear what she has to say because she gets into some deep psychology here.
We're not talking about one trauma. We're not talking about a specific event. We're talking about generations of trauma with no intervention. Based on what I know about sugar plantations, tobacco, and the Caribbean, what I know about American chattel slavery and the plantations there, does anyone right now ever recall mental health assistance to slaves?
Yeah, that's about what I thought when I heard that too. They didn't have mental health assistance back then. This woman's face. She's like, oh my God, she said it. This guy's like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. They showed the white people here, though, like they're looking away, looking disgust. I'm sure some people took that the wrong way, right? But yeah, they didn't have, Sigmund Freud didn't come around till much later, and they didn't have, roaming mental health organizations back for the slaves. Yeah, she's right about that. I mean, there wasn't such a thing. It didn't exist yet. Hey, Roy, your slave's looking a little depressed. Have you told the Dr. Sigmund Freud down here yet? He brings his couch, they just lay on the couch and he gets it all worked out for him. You have to address that trauma now. You're putting it there. Yeah, that's not how it works, lady. This woman has a degree in psychology too. Did anybody ever heard of mental health for the slaves? They didn't have that. They didn't have it for anybody. Nobody got mental health assistance. Yeah. Mental health assistance wasn't a thing. You had a mental condition regardless of the color. You were institutionalized or jailed or told to walk it off, rub some dirt on it, right? The better treatment of house slaves was also a probably sort of psyop, maybe intentionally, maybe not, but it was a position to be aspired to. Yeah, it was, and that would get them the inside information about anything as well. And on the other side of the same coin, the house slaves enjoyed their better treatment so that they would attempt to de-incentivize descendants. Yes. Yeah, it was some psyop. And also the psyop putting the women above the men in that sense. So the mammies had a role in that psychology as well. But it was all about how do you maintain that kind of property, right? We're not saying none of this is good. It's just it is what it is. But it went on a lot longer than it hasn't gone on, if you think about it. Daisy Girl over in the Rumble, way over there. Rumble says in 1864, Indian head penny. That's what I have someone wanting me to look up the value for on them. Supposed to be bringing it by to see if it has an L on it. Okay. Hey, good luck with that Indian head penny. I hope it works out for you. I hope you get $1 million. Let's see. I'll look no further than Sam Jackson's character in the Django Unchained for Jacob's example. Okay. Shoot, we can't handle the mental issues for the vets from Vietnam, Bosnia, Afghanistan, Iraq, right? But man, they didn't, I guess he thought they'd just come right up on the horse and say, how your slave feeling? You needing mental assistance? I'm here to help with trauma. Like, and the slaves often kept themselves separate from field hands because they didn't want to jeopardize their position. Yeah. They said, y'all better do it. Y'all better do what he says. They would keep him in line. But anyways, yeah, this part was just so funny. Do you guys ever hear? Now, do you hear how she went into that too? She went into it with a bunch of word salad I'm gonna rewind it just so you can hear this again. A bunch of word salad. This is part of the double speak that's going on that's with this lady. And then she hits with this point. Oh yeah, yeah, I've never heard of that. Wow, she's so smart. Here we go.
Mental health assistance to know about American chattel
So she says she knows all this stuff. She doesn't explain it, but she says she knows all this stuff.
slavery and the plantations there. Does anyone right now ever recall mental health assistance to slaves? Anybody remember sending in the therapist after
I have a feeling that guy wrote down, this is such crap. Like, what kind of notes is he taking?
I sold off your son, daughter, raped folks? At any point? Never. Second question. After slavery was officially over, now you're free. Anybody remember any therapy then?
They still didn't have it. They still didn't have it, lady. This is such a fallacious point. I mean, she's just really, the con is so thick with this one, right? And then the idea of this idea of rape, right? This whole, am I allowed to say that word? Grapes for everybody. Grapes. All right. The whole idea of grape, right? Within slavery. Now, we just talked about how there was some people that wanted to get into the house positions, right? Now, you don't think that the women in there still weren't women, right? That they still weren't women. They act like they were just tying them down and just riding the train on them all day. This is the way they make it sound, right? Men are still men. Women are still women. Men still have to be attracted to what they want, right? But at the same time, a lot of the women that were in there would use their sexuality to make sure they had better accommodations. That's how a lot of those things went down. And then they said, well, because they were slaves, and that means that it was a rape because, they had to do that. But in a lot of cases, you look at Thomas Jefferson and others that had well-known relations, right? They'll say, well, he was raping her day and night, tying her. No, she actually was very much involved in the seduction of that man. If you look into the history of it, you find that, they traveled together. She had her brother along for the ride. I mean, she ran off his other mistress or whatever so that she could have him. There was a whole bunch of that story, but it gets glazed over by people like this who go, it was trauma, trauma. Yes, slavery was not good. Yes, it was traumatic, but is it carrying on to today? That's what she's saying. She's saying, well, because it went untreated back then, that it still exists in all of us today. Well, if that's the truth, then it's true for everybody.
It's been rough. It's been deep for you. It's been difficult. We're going to do a little group therapy. Anybody remember that? That would be no. So
she's got two agreements there. According to her logic, freed slaves passed on the trauma, but never encouraged healing within their families or communities. She makes it seem like no one evolved or progressed since the 1850s. Yep, Boondocks hit the truth on the nail on the head. I love that show. If they perpetuated the trauma, whose fault was that? They said the whites didn't send in help, but if they had trauma from whites, would it have helped them or triggered them or made it worse, right? That's the question. Right? It's okay because she's selling a book. She's getting paid to be here. Jacob P says, well, I mean, if there's any more powerful of a man than one that owns you, kind of plays into the female psyche of looking for powerful men and successful men. Imagine in the time finding black psychologists would have been difficult. Yeah. Here it says, how come this lady just talks about blacks? What about the blacks who owned Indian slaves? How come blacks don't call themselves out for being scumbags they were back then? Well, I mean, the owners, whatever. I mean, people it was a property thing. I don't think it had anything to do with like intentions, right? Or personality. I just had to do with you had money to own property and you didn't. And hey, by the way, there were plenty of Indians that owned black slaves and bought and participated too, right? And so we're going to kind of combine those two things here in the second half of the show. But Kennedy said, right, but right, the American Armed Services have not allowed anybody in but white. I'm not going to say that word. Males for all the world, for all the wars forever. Don't try to be proud of that. Proud of America. I know. Let's see what else she has to say here.
Number 3, after slavery officially ended, both in the States, in the Caribbean, the British ended, do you remember whether or not trauma continued? Did the trauma continue for people of African descent? I need to know. Okay, so now let's do the math.
Walls, what's up, man? Winning, what are you doing? What you don't understand is it gets internalized and passed down from generation to generation. And again, you don't know if blacks own black slaves, no shields. Think of Defengo. That's pretty much, I mean, it's pretty much been documented that they did own slaves and they did participate in it. And I know that there's this whole argument that well, they did it to free them, but this happened like right up in the front. In fact, some of the first slave owners in America were black, so they weren't trying to free them then. There's also this lady's logic, right? So I'm giving this an honest shot. I've been looking at this since we talked about it on the show, right? I've looked into it. I've looked at the different symptoms and all that stuff. And I just think she's selling a bunch of bunk. I'm trying to break down her logic here. She's saying there wasn't no mental assistance back in the slave days. They didn't have that for anybody. We just kind of talked about that, right? They didn't have that they didn't have that for anybody back in the day. So she's not making any sense here. Also, she said this whole thing about how black mothers put down their sons in order so they don't get sold off. That has happened in a very long time. And nobody here has ever had that experience with a black mother putting down their son when they're doing something right. So all of her points, I'm saying that maybe there's something to this somewhere, but her approach to it is bunk. And so far, I have not seen anything that makes her point valid. And she uses a lot of generalisms, like she says generalize and everybody, and then she gets very specific to a thing, and then she jumps back to the generalization. So she never actually lands on a point and backs it up with anything. Let's see. So Sigmund Freud, father of psychology, right? They didn't have anything that would have been like, okay, there's trauma going on in the plantation, so let's get a psychiatrist out there. That's not you got to show me that. So put a link in the chat. My wife ancestors less slaves. So history don't change to change the narrative. No. I'm going by all the history that I've been learning and that I know. My wife's ancestors less slaves. I was slaves. Okay, well, yeah, I agree, right? And Haitian, you're from Haitian, right? Haitian slaves, which came from Africa originally, right? If I'm following you right. So, and yeah, and believe me, I wouldn't. After you guys talked about this, I wouldn't have looked it up. This is the only lady talking about it right here. She came up with it, right? And she's like she hasn't made any points. She's been pushing this for a while, and it's still the same speech every time. Like I look out on the your wife's American. Okay. You're Haitian. Her family's in the southern plantations. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, like I said, nobody's saying that the slave life was easy for anybody, right? We're just wondering about this perpetual, like the perpetualness of this selling this post-traumatic slavery syndrome when it probably isn't a thing, and how does that help in society? How does that help bridge the gap? How does that help heal division? And I'm going to go into race grifters later. There's a lot of race grifters out there on both sides. I ain't putting everything on anybody. I'm just calling out the individuals, And is there some repercussions from the actions of certain political parties? Yes, but is that every white person? No. Is that and that's the way it gets put across, right? And I don't think it's every black person either. I don't think that every black person is experiencing some kind of repercussions from slavery from back in the Civil War days. Oh no, I get you. Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, man. You too, man. I love you, bud. See, where do I still have you up here, man? I wish I still had your intro up here, man. I'd play it for you. Do I still have it up here? Oh man, I gotta play it one more time for you. I put it out on the Winning Sir Reality, both your intros out over on that channel. Oh man, I love that intro. Hang tight. Let me play it for you. Don't go anywhere. All right. Listen to some more of this while I find it.
Hundreds of years of trauma, no treatment. Freed, More trauma, no treatment. What do you do the math? Do you think there may be residual impacts of that trauma? Of course there is. It didn't end, friends, and it hasn't ended yet. So I think on one point, African people and people of African descent are extremely resilient. Matter of fact, I think we're a miracle. Far be it for us to pathologize or to look and cast this idea of weak and sick people. Oh, on the contrary, I'm profoundly resilient because we.
Here we go.
Now, all the way live from New York City, Mr. Bismarck, Greta, I can get busy.
Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
You know that I can do it with the mic in my hand.
Yeah.
You remember that? Yo, that is that. Tick-tock, tick-tock, do the die. No matter what I say, it always come on fire. The ladies in here, they're like fruit in a cup. I'm in love. I'm all shook up.
Yo, Dougie Fresh, my fella, my man.
Lost P, man. Lost P. Yeah, I'd love to have you back on the show, man. I have an open spot here if you ever want to come up and hang out with me. We can talk about whatever you want. But yeah, I've just been trying to hit the topics, man, and I'm just trying to. I don't know. You guys put this in my mind, and I decided I was going to go figure out what it's about. I don't know. I don't buy this lady's stuff, but we can agree to disagree on it. It's like, oh yeah. It's on Winning Story Reality. Yeah, it's on my other channel.
We've done everything we've done thus far with no help, with not even the ability to have this discussion. As though it were possible, we escaped injury in all those hundreds of years and the years that follow. So this kind of journey I'm going to take.
Yeah, man. How can I catch up with you, man? I don't know how to get to you. Do you have an email or how can we talk? Let me know, man. Let me know. We'll hook it up.
Take you on. It's going to be one that really gives a perspective on what this trauma was, what it looks like, and clinically, what is post-traumatic stress disorder? What does it look like? Let me give you a little snapshot. We'll get into it in more depth a little later. But post-traumatic stress disorder, if in fact you are diagnosed with that, again, remember, direct or indirect trauma, here are some of the symptoms. A feeling of foreshortened future. Now, what does that mean? A feeling, well, you're not going to live long. How many of you are running into young people that don't believe they're going to make it past their 20s? Feeling of foreshortened future. Exaggerated startle response. Outbursts of anger. Difficulty falling or staying asleep. Hypervigilance. Right? These are symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. This is like DSM stuff, Diagnostic Statistical Manual Mental Disorders. It's in there. And there's a whole listing of all these symptoms. Now, I want to roll it back so you can understand what the transmission theory is, because I'm going to talk about transmission. So how does a person that's been traumatized by post-traumatic, literally has a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, and can we, if we are logical and we are reasonable people, assume that a fair number of Africans had to have had post-traumatic stress disorder? You think? I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about them. Untreated though, right? Okay, so now let's do the math. Mom who saw dad sold or sister raped has post-traumatic stress disorder. Still mom though, right? Only mom now has outbursts of anger, feeling of foreshortened future, difficulty falling or staying asleep, hypervigilance. That would be mom. Now, Johnny or Mary or Shaquisha.
All right, man. Have a good night. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Well, it's Pete, y'all. All right. So we heard this part, right? We heard this part before. But she's drawing a little bit more of it's a little bit more of a from a lecture standpoint, right? So she's getting a little more into it. And she also has she's got a little bit more detail for us.
Did not have the original trauma, but what are they learning? This is called social learning theory. What am I normalizing? Exaggerated startle response, outbursts of anger. Are you following me? So I didn't have to be traumatized. Now, the other thing is, do you think Johnny and Mary got traumatized too? Do you see? So what happens in your environment, you learn from the significant others in your environment. And if they're broken, guess what you're going to be? You're learning from broken people. And you're normalizing that behavior. And then it becomes, years later, 2008, that's their culture.
Hand up.
All right. There we go. Oops, let me get over here. Yeah, here I am. All right. There we go. So that's our look at a PTSS, right? And, you know, I get there's a lot more to learn about it, but I don't think that Joy has a handle on it. Maybe there's something to what she says. Maybe there's a little bit of truth in there. Maybe there's some things we still need to learn. But if there is, I don't think that she. I don't like her presentation on it. Maybe I need to get a little bit more into some of her deeper lectures, where she can go into some more details. But I just can't seem to find them. They all seem to come across that way. So, like I said, I've been looking into this for a couple weeks now, and I really just can't seem to find much more than that. The wordy kind of things that go into a point that doesn't really ever kind of like it circulate, it doesn't really make that much sense. But maybe there's something to it. I keep an open mind, but for now, I'm against anything that kind of like wants to keep people in a perpetual state of victimhood, wants to make excuses for people that give people excuses to make instead of really address the future, the present, the now. What can we do today to make a better world for tomorrow, putting all things behind us? So that's where I take on it for today. What do you guys think? Let's hear about it. Let's hear about it from the crowd. The crowd, what you think? See, I have massive CPTSD, work on it every day. My failures and my successes are my own. I don't blame anyone else, even though I absolutely could. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for who I am. Exactly. That's the survivor attitude. And that's the real thing. It's like, remember we talked about the drama triangle on Unveiling Reality like a couple weeks back, last week maybe, and wasn't this week. It was last week, yeah. And in that role, right? You can be a victim or you can be a survivor, right? And the survivor is called becoming. You move out of the victim role to you become a survivor, and you become a survivor. You get out of the drama, right? The drama is now in the past. You're part of the present circle. You get out of the drama triangle to get to the present circle, and that's where you're going to find your most successful, happy life, right? Is in that when you're caught up in the drama of being a victim, you can never escape it, right? Because then you'll start pulling other people into the drama as well. And I think that maybe some people have been maybe trained through school. And hey, man, there's a lot of people that have perpetuated things over the years, and kept it alive, including very politically minded, very power oriented minded people. Like I was saying earlier today, I don't want to bear the responsibility for what Democrats in the past did to people for political gains, or what Marxists have done to people I'm not part of those groups. I don't associate with those groups. I never have. I never will. And so, their past is their past. I would think more so people that are still kind of like associating with them today are claiming to be part of that today is the ones who bear more responsibility for continuing the enablement of that thought, that line of thinking, that lineage. But more so than any color of a skin, I blame more ideology than anything else in terms of that. And I'm sure that swings both ways. I'm sure that swings both ways. Jacob says, thank you, Shelley, for the new doll. And I'll second that. Patrick says, I cannot give other people an idea of what it is like to get shot at. If you are so soft, I can't help you. It's true. Yeah, I hear that. Or to be, jumped by multiple people at once because of the color of your skin. There's a lot of things you can't really pass along. But anyways, so I want to move on now to our next topic. If there's no more response from the crowd, and we're going to bring in a couple role models here and role model leadership here to talk about a recent event. I think I got this in order. Okay, and there's only two I want. Yeah, a recent event. I'm sure you guys have all heard about it. this is going to give us a day of, and then a follow-up to this, right? So here we go. Make sure I get this all set up right. I know that's going to jump. Stop it right there. Okay. I'm getting better at this. All right. So you guys all know about, and that now we're going to get into like what race grifting is, right? And before we get started though, let me just kind of refresh people's memories on things. Actually, I'll pull this up at the in between. All right. So you guys all know about the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs game with the kid. Have you guys heard about this? Yeah, I hear that. Have you guys heard about the kid at the Chiefs game? Well, okay, so let me pull this video up. It's got to be talked about. All right. This one? All right, here we go. So, Black Twitter counsels child for wearing quote unquote blackface and headdress to Kansas City Chiefs game. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but wearing headdresses to Chiefs and Redskin games has been going on as long as I've been on football. So I don't know why this is suddenly an important thing, but it's part of the team mascot, right? It's sort of being part of the team, what the team's name is. Chiefs, Redskins, right? They don't have the Redskins anymore, but when they did, they had people wearing the same headdress there every week. I know I'm an Eagles fan, so I remember seeing these guys, especially when they were good and beating us, which they don't do anymore, thank God. But those days were very frustrating because they'd always show them on TV, and then they started wearing pig faces, which is weird. But anyways, so this kid, they take this one picture of this kid at the game, and they decide that this kid right here just got up one day and decided he's a racist. Yep. They just decided that he's a racist. He's gonna tell his parents he's gonna wear a blackface to make a statement to the football game to show everybody some kind of dog whistle to the world that he's against black people, right? And I guess he's against Indians too, even though his favorite team is the Chiefs and he loves the Kansas City Chiefs. So, anyways, Brandon Tatum, tell us what's up.
All right, did you guys see this kid at the Chiefs game the other day? He's getting bludgeoned online. I think there's more to this story. All right, so in fairness, I first saw this today on Deadspin, which, by the way, Deadspin is a trash site. I saw a link. I clicked it. The NFL needs to speak out against the Kansas City Chiefs fan in blackface Native American headdress. Okay, first of all, it's a kid. That's first and foremost. Like, we're shaming a child right now. Now, you can't see it perfectly in this picture, but on the other side of his face, it's red face paint. I don't love the headdress move. I feel like if a smart person was around him, they'd say, oh, yeah, don't do that. But to have the 50-50 face, that's a normal sports fan move. Like I saw this on Outkick showcasing what a Steelers fan would do, right? This is what his face looked like. Half was black, half was red. So I think we rushed to judgment a little bit. I saw Dan Levitard. I saw some of the other tweets out there about this. Maybe we rushed to judgment. Headdress, yes, I'm with you on that. Get rid of it. Don't need that. I wish the parents stepped in on that one.
Whatever,
but
dude.
The other side of this is just a kid, and kids do stupid crap all the time. Do we have to shame everybody possible on the internet?
Now I'm gonna give y'all a chance to delete your video first. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. If you're watching this video, you're still eligible to receive the benefits of Cyber Monday, the point spread between University of Arizona and A's. So you don't have to put the discount code out. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get a notification anytime I go live, make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. And everything is in the description section. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to give you an opportunity to delete your video. So whenever this video hit the mainstream and it start going viral, at least you not the one out there with get caught with your pants down, not doing no research and blasting a kid. And some of y'all gonna have to pay a lot of money for defamation. So I'm giving you an opportunity right now. If you were watching the Kansas City Chiefs game and you saw a kid on there with a hairdressing, being an incredible fan, and you see one side of his face and it's black because he's putting war paint on his face like a chief would, and you're saying he's wearing blackface and he's a racist and all this other stuff, delete your video now because I'm about to expose it. And you're about to be looking real stupid. You'll be looking dumb as 5 left shoes on an 8-legged man. So go ahead and delete it now. Boom. I'm finna expose people who put it out there that shouldn't have. But I have to say this because my guy Nick warned me. This young lady you see right here, Lacey Jane Brown, she originally had a video out, and I have mad respect for her because she deleted the video.
So what is this, like, everybody on TikTok just jumps on these things to make shorts, right? It's like sensational shorts. Like, what? Like, why would you? That's a problem that people jump to conclusions so fast. Remember the kid that was at the Capitol or whatnot, and then the chief agitator came in there banging his drum on his face, and they all said that it was a MAGA kid, and he was harassing the poor old the tribal elder, the poor elder, right? Remember that? It turns out that the guy's just he's like a paid agitator, and he went down there specifically to try to drum up some optics. I call his name was Nathan something. I called him chief agitator. Yeah, and then the kid ended up suing and making millions of dollars. I hope this kid does the same thing.
Because I don't know how she figured it out. I don't know if it was my guy Nick. My guy Nick told me, Brandon, don't blast her. Hold on. I know her. She got great content. She's an incredible person. And let me just throw it out there to her first before you blast on this video. And I don't know if what he said to her helped, or she already didn't delete it. I don't know. But all I know is he said, hold the phone, B. Don't do it like that. And so I'm going to honor his wishes. And I'm not going to say anything bad about this young lady because she did delete the video because I think she was able to watch more of the content and fixed it. So shout out to Lacey Jane Brown. Go follow her on social media. All right.
This cheese.
Now, him, you ain't apologized. Did he apologize? He trashed him too. He ain't never apologized. I'm about to get you. You about to get got. Let me tell you how silly this person is. They point this out because, you know, the white man want a virtue signal or whatever race he is. He want a virtue signal because he think us dumb black people are so sensitive that somebody got paint on their face that somehow it's evoking our ancestors. I ain't never gave up about somebody with paint on their face.
Right.
Man, do you at a game. You a Kansas City Chief. The kids having a good time. Chiefs had paint on their face too. Are they now doing blackface? People are stupid. Anyway, let me let you how stupid he is, and then I'm gonna show y'all why everybody should delete their commentary on this if you're pointing out and thinking this boy's wearing blackface.
Fan woke up this morning and said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going absolute demon on my costume to the game. You know, the event that 80,000+ people are going to. I'm not only wearing a head garb or headdress that could potentially get me a little bit, you know, look twice at.
Why would somebody look twice at a boy with a head garb? He's going to a Kansas City Chiefs game. Hey, dummy. The team is called Kansas City Chiefs. Why wouldn't he wear a hairdress if he's gonna be a chief? Okay.
But I'm doing an exclusive cancellation parlay of myself. And I'm adding this. I'm adding blackface.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot for me in 2023 to look at something and go, what? But this got me. This got me big time. I don't know.
It's got you. All right. You better delete this. You look coward. Who is this person? Is this? I don't know if this is probably not that person's TikTok, so I don't want to get that TikTok in trouble. I don't know who this guy is, but the TikTok handle down there probably not his. But no, he got you all right because he got you looking stupid. And now you got a little kid that you didn't put his business out there, and he should sue you for defamation, saying that he wearing blackface. How many death threats this kid get because idiots like this didn't do no homework, no research?
You don't have anybody in your life say, no, you can't do that, dude. Come on. Come on, let's not do that. Also, he's wearing a Travis Kelce.
This guy probably didn't have any kids.
This is the person that says they're showing Taylor too much during the Chiefs games. Get her off the screen.
Trent Green, Kevin Hart.
Now look at the reality. And after you see this video, you tell me if the kid wearing blackface or not. And everybody that said he was wearing blackface, go right now and delete your stuff or write an apology and make an apology video. Look at the kid right there.
Holiday week.
Look at his face. Hope y'all caught that. His face is not black. It's not just black. It's black and red because it's the chief. He got war paint on this side that's black, war paint on this side that's red. And if you idiots would have been watching the game, you would have been able to tell that he had a red side and a black side. And if the idiot wasn't trying to make a spectacle of this and showed his red side, y'all wouldn't say nothing. I hope all y'all repent. Because it don't make no sense that somebody mad at a little boy for doing this. And to be honest, even if he did, it was nothing wrong with him wearing war paint. It's stupid to me that people are saying that. Like even when on Halloween, you know how they get mad at people on Halloween because they want to be LeBron James or something, and so they darken their face. You know how stupid you sound if you mad at a white kid for wanting to be LeBron James? It's maddening to me. That's honorable that a kid would want to look just like a black person. Y'all all mad because black people don't have no voice in history, and the history book changed. And then white people want to be black, and y'all mad at them. And y'all mad because they wearing blackface. And they talk about cultural appropriation. People love what black people doing, so they want to be like them. Y'all mad. Then they take some of your culture because it's cool, and y'all mad. And the same people mad at him for wearing the garb of a chief, y'all wearing weave in your hair. Culturally appropriating white people. You got your hair straight. Your hair ain't straight like that. Your hair ain't long all the way like that. Your hair balled up under there. But you talking about them culturally, you culturally appropriating. What y'all doing? Still wearing makeup that don't even match your skin tone. Trying to be like the white woman. Ain't talking about somebody culturally appropriating. Okay. Hey. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Don't get mad at him, and y'all do it every day. Y'all culturally appropriating clowns with all that makeup on. Y'all should be at a carnival with all that that fake up on. And you mad at the boy because he want to celebrate and have a good time. And y'all got a whole fake face, whole head fake. Anyway. All right. I'll see y'all after y'all delete your videos. I'll see you in the next one.
All right. All right. So I don't know if you guys know about that story or not, but it's making its rounds. It's making its round. Hold on a second. All right, I'm gonna switch mics here. Here we go. All right. So yeah. So Grace Grifting, right? Trying to jump out there to get clicks and views on the backs of race, right? Any opportunity without even knowing the full story, people are jumping at this these days, right? For what? Why? How does this help heal division? How does this help bring people together? It doesn't. It doesn't. And there's a ton of people out there who have been doing it for a long time. And this is an epidemic. And this is we're going to be our next guy here. Black conservative perspective is going to come in here and tell us about a little bit more about this race grifting, right? And how it's been going on. All right, so here we go. Let me bring him on in here. All right, what y'all saying out there in the crowd? Let's see, Elon. Let's see. Yeah. Intolerance. The tolerance of them. Yeah, is the way the world is. Yeah, right. The tolerance of race grifting, right? Why are we putting up with this? And hey, props to Brandon Tatum for standing up and getting in front of it and say, hey, I'm gonna call it all out. I'm calling it all out. All right, so we're talking about Elon here. I can talk about a little bit of Elon here when we get done because I saw that. I thought it was pretty damn good. But let's watch this next video.
Hand up. I messed up. Behind me is a Chiefs fan. On Sunday, I took this photo from the CBS broadcast and said he was wearing a blackface and a headdress. What I did not do was let more things come out about that photo, as the other side of his face was red. And in regards to the headdress, it has come out that he is Native American. So I guess he saw the Brandon Tatum video and said, I better get on here and make my apology video. Grandfather is part of the Chumash tribe and a member of the Santa Ynez band of Chumash Indians. I have since taken down this TikTok, and the apology should be as loud as the accusation. So here's my TikTok saying I am sorry, and also I am an idiot. I should have been better than this and should not have just reacted to the screenshot. The story is not as simple as just something on the TV. And as somebody who preaches that, I should have done that. And to those.
And see, that's what happens when people get in front of this and call it out, especially from the Black community, right? People like this have to realize, have to come to some big realizations about themselves, right? They have to take a hard look in the mirror and be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I think that this guy right here, props to him. I think that he's had that moment of clarity that he desperately needed. That's what I'm saying. Part of human division is getting role model leadership for the Black community to stand in front of this race grifting, this race baiting, and to call it out in a heavy way. And luckily, Brandon Tatum has the reach where he can do that. This is the kind of solutioning that I'm seeing towards ending this practice of race grifting and race baiting that's been plaguing our society for forever. You know, and even more so today, now more than ever is happening. Like, this is what it takes to end this stuff. More and more people for the Black community that are in role model leadership positions, right? They're doing things the right way, that are not giving into the victimhood, not giving into the left wokeism way of doing things, right? That are standing up and saying no more. Here we go. How do you deal with race grifters? Laugh at them better. Learn their tactics and their rhythms. They all say the same stuff. Call it out when you see it. That's right, Patrick. You call it out. You got to call it out every time until they just go away, or they have, like this guy, in this case, have their moment of clarity. And that moment of clarity will put them back on the right path and get them out of that mess.
Those of you who are calling me out, completely fair game. More than fair game. That's how this goes. And, like I said, I should have been better, and I deserve all the backlash. As an apology, I'll be reaching out to the family and asking if this fan wants a new jersey or some form of Chiefs memorabilia. But again, I apologize. I got it wrong. And I hope everybody that saw the original video will also see this.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about woke race hustler number one, Mr. Karan J. Phillips, aka his new nickname is Karen J. Phillips, right? That's what people are calling him, Karen J. Phillips, because this triggered liberal broke the internet after accusing a young Chiefs fan of being a racist. Okay, he wrote this article in which there's an update on this article, and I'm going to talk about this update. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys, most of you are familiar with the story, but he accused this young Chiefs fan of being a racist for wearing blackface during an NFL game, except the kid was not wearing blackface. He was actually just wearing a costume to support his NFL team. Not only that, it turns out that this little boy is of Native American descent. So not only did Karen wrongfully accuse this little boy of wearing blackface, but he also just assumed that the kid was white, okay? Which, hey, I guess you could define that as being a little racist, okay? Just assume that the kid was white, okay? And that he's, doing blackface, and that, he has no business, wearing, I guess, this costume or whatever. Yeah, so again, he was just wrong on so many different levels, okay? This has backfired tremendously. You've had liberals come out here and apologize and retract their statements because they realize that, hey, we messed up, right? We messed up. However, this guy is not apologizing. He's actually doubling down on his nonsense because, again, this is what the left does, right? They never apologize. They simply double down on their garbage here. And that's what he's doing because he's updated the article, okay? And it's not with an apology saying that, hey, I was wrong. I apologize for accusing the kid of being racist. No. He updated it basically claiming that the tribe that this kid belongs to or is associated with or affiliated with, apparently they don't like the wearing of the regalia as a part of a costume. And I think he thinks that this is redeeming for him, right? He thinks that, well, this redeems me in regards to falsely accusing this young boy of being a racist. So let's read the update here. He says, per Front Office Sports, the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians, whom the fan and his family are affiliated with, have released a statement condemning the, quote, wearing regalia as part of a costume or participating in any other type of cultural appropriation. Here's the statement. Quote, we are aware that a young member of our community attended a Kansas City Chiefs game in a headdress and face paint in his way of supporting his favorite team. Please keep in mind that the decision made by individuals or families in our community are their own and may not reflect the views of the broader tribal community. As a federally recognized tribe, the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians does not endorse wearing regalia as a part of a costume or participating in any other type of cultural appropriation. Okay, so again, it's so funny how this guy provides his update, which is not really condemning the family at all for wearing the regalia. I guess what he's saying is that, well, we don't really endorse it. Okay. Now, as being a part of their community, hey, they can kind of do what they want to do, right? But what they do does not reflect our views as a whole. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where, again, they are condemning the family or anything like that. But hey, maybe these Indians are not okay with cultural appropriation, and that's fine, right? But that doesn't change the fact that this guy, Karan J. Phillips, falsely accused this young fan of being a racist, okay, which he did not retract any of these statements, okay? He basically is sticking to his guns here and saying that this young boy has found a way to hate black people and Native Americans at the same time, despite the fact that he
Jake
is
Castro.
Native American. Truly ridiculous. Again, how low do you have to be as an individual? How desperate do you have to be as an individual to smear a young boy as a racist? Okay, that's how little racism there is a supply of in this country, right? That these people have to make up stories like this to find fake racism in the United States. It's amazing, right? For as racist as this country is, according to them, right, they have to stoop this low, right, to accuse children of hating black people and hating themselves, their own race at the same time for simply wearing a costume. Amazing stuff. It just reeks of desperation, okay? Desperation to boohoo, whine, and cry racism for clicks and likes and for money. And this is why I say we have to defund the boohoo, whining, and crying racism industry, right? The crime bigotry industry in general needs to be defunded, right? Because again, that's one of the biggest hustles currently in this country, right? And it drives stories like this. This is how stuff like this happens, is because of the existence of that industry. And furthermore, I'm sick and tired of our soft, always triggered society where people get upset about the dumbest stuff, like a costume, bruh. A costume. People get upset, he's wearing blackface. As a black person, I don't give a damn about anybody wearing blackface. If a white person wants to walk around here with blackface paint on and pretend to be black and, you know, do whatever they want to do, I don't care. Hey, they're not hurting me, right? Do what you want to do, okay? I mean, I think it looks silly, right? But hey, you know, if you want to have fun with it, have fun with it. I'm just not going to live my life being triggered by every little thing. But with that being said, we have to talk about this kid's family and the fact that his father is speaking out. Again, the kid's name is Holden Arminta, and his father, Bubba, basically is stating that it is too late for an apology, that the damage is done, even though I don't think that Karen was actually going to ever give an apology. And this is why I think that the family should just sue for defamation, right? That's exactly what they do. So without further ado, let's watch this interview with Jesse Waters.
Let's bring in Holden Arminta and his father, Bubba. So, Bubba, what was going through your mind the second you found out your son had been targeted like this?
It's been a lot. It's been a pretty crazy couple of days. I was mad, upset for him. Mad that he's upset. He's pretty devastated. I mean, he's seen the videos and everything posted. He's excited. He's all over. It was his dream to get on the Jumbotron. And I've had family and friends call and, oh, we saw you on Sunday Night Football. So he's excited. But then everything else came up, and it's been a little bit of a spiral.
Holden, how are you feeling right now?
It's okay because a lot of kids at school are getting excited, but it's starting to get me a little nervous because if they go a little bit overboard, it's a little scary.
I bet it's scary. It can be a very overwhelming experience.
Yeah, especially when you have race hustlers trying to smear the kid as a racist, right? Again, this guy has absolutely no conscience, right? You have to have no soul for you to smear a child, a 9-year-old child, as a racist for wearing a costume, saying that he hates blacks and Native Americans. Again, imagine what this child is dealing with right now at 9 years old. Dealing with this situation. Again, this is a situation that's hard for adults to handle, right? We've seen people have hard times dealing with being labeled and smeared as a racist, again, as adults, right? Because when you get labeled as a racist in 2023, that can ruin your whole life, okay? It can ruin your career. It could stop you from being able to feed your family, being able to live a normal life. That racism label is not a label to be taken lightly, especially when you have the mainstream liberal media throwing it at you all at the same time, right? And that is something that, again, is a big problem in our society. And that's why I say that the boohoo, whining, and crying racism industry has to be defunded. And that's why, again, I think that they should sue, right? They should sue. Teach this outlet a last cent. I'm pretty sure they can raise a ton of money for a lawsuit against this outlet for these accusations, because this guy is still not even retracting the claims. He's not even retracting the claims. Again, he was just wrong, okay? Again, this is defamation. You trying to ruin this child's life before he even gets a chance to even really start living. It's just, it's shameful.
How has the community been in terms of support?
Okay. So far.
Good. And you're a football guy, right? Don't you have practice in a few minutes?
Yeah, we'll get ready to head out the door for all-star practice.
What position do you play?
Wide receiver and free safety.
It's amazing. And how big of a Chiefs fan are you?
Really big.
And what does it
Because
mean?
we went to the Raiders Chiefs game last year too.
Nice. And what does it mean now that you're feeling all this love from Chiefs Nation? Everyone's going to be wearing red and black on their faces next Sunday.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Everybody's
That whole stadium
I
should
would
be
do
wearing
it.
red and black. Every fan at
Yep,
that stadium,
every fan.
black, white, Indian, Asian, Latino, whatever, should be wearing black and red face paint. Okay, and let the mainstream, let the race hustlers say, well, they're all wearing blackface. They're all racist. They're all appropriating Indian culture, whatever.
That's
See,
the
this
way
is how
you
you beat
do
it,
it.
right? The way that you beat it is that you just do it anyways, right? You just keep doing it, right? We're just gonna keep. We don't care what you say. We're all gonna do it. Are you gonna smear all of us as racist? Are we all racist? Do we all hate Native Americans and blacks? Right? Again, that's how you beat them. Just do it anyways. Okay. So that's what I want to see.
So Bubba,
he asked me 10 minutes. He asked me 10 minutes ago if he can paint his face before we go live.
I mean, he can do whatever he wants. He's a great patriot. He's a great American, and he's a great fan, and everybody loves Holden. But Karen over at Deadspin doesn't. Bubba, would you like an apology? What would you like from Karen at Deadspin?
Yo, Jesse Waters is hilarious for calling this guy Karen, right? He's hilarious. Okay, he's definitely doing it on purpose. But yeah, that's what he is. He's been a Karen. That's exactly what he's being. He's being a blackmail Karen, right? That's what he's trying to be.
You know, I don't even know what to think about that. It's a little too late for that. The damage is already done. It's, worldwide. Now there's comments all over. There's, disrespect towards Native Americans and towards my family. We never in any way, shape, or form meant to disrespect any Native Americans or any tribes. The tribe we're from doesn't even wear that type of headdress. This specific headdress is a novelty piece. It's a costume piece. That's exactly what we had purchased it for and wore it for.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just a costume. Again, I'm sick and tired of living in a society where people get triggered over the dumbest stuff, over silly stuff. You can't have fun anymore, right? You can't have fun. And that's, again, the world that the woke revolutionaries want us to live in, a world where you can't have fun. You can't dress up, in these costumes and go to these games and just be a fan without having to worry about being smeared as some type of bigot. It's insane. It really is. Okay. It really is insane. Liberals are just not fun, right? They're not fun people. They don't know how to have fun. They don't know how to take jokes. They don't know how to do any of that. They're miserable, right? They're miserable. And the reason why they're miserable is because, again, they look for stuff like this. They look for things to be triggered over. And this is why they're so miserable.
Not in any disrespect towards any Native Americans at all. And it's been a whirlwind of comments coming even from other tribes, from tribal members. Some think it's okay. Some think it's not okay. It's a 9-year-old boy supporting his team.
Facts. And because of all the backlash that they're getting, because of the defamatory statements that were made by Karen J. Phillips, they should not accept an apology. Yes, absolutely, an apology is too late, right? You can't apologize now, right? We're not going to forgive this. This should not be forgiven. These people need to be sued, okay? They need to face financial consequences. The same thing they try to do to people on the right, like Elon Musk, Trump, Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Do it back to them. We're going to sue you, okay? We're going to sue you. We're going to come after you. We're going to financially bankrupt you for these false accusations of racism, okay? That's what has to happen. That's what has to happen. So no, he shouldn't accept no apology. I wouldn't accept no apology if you smear my son as a racist. You ruining his life. You making our own community turn against us and all types of other crazy stuff. Yeah, we're going to sue you, and I'm not going to forgive you. We're not going to forgive you.
And you're going to be wearing the black and the red in, I guess, every Sunday for as long as you're alive, I bet, Holden.
Yep.
Forever, huh?
Who's your favorite player on the Chiefs?
Patrick Mahomes.
My Eagles beat your Chiefs a couple weeks back.
That's right.
I mean, you guys did beat us in the Super Bowl, but I think we're going to see you again in the Super Bowl.
I think so.
That'll be good, huh?
Now, if we're back in the Super Bowl together, the Eagles and the Chiefs, you want to have a little bet, Holden?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do a bet, and if the Chiefs win, you're going to get something very special, and if the Eagles win, we'll figure that out. How's that sound?
Yeah.
All right. Can I get a chop? There you go. Holden, Bubba, we love you guys. Good luck at practice. Good luck for the rest of the season until the Super Bowl. How's that?
Thank you, Jesse. We really appreciate the opportunity tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. So again, that's how you do it, right? You don't bow down to the mob. Okay. You continue to stand on what you believe in. Okay. And you just continue to do what you're doing, right? Don't fold to them. Don't change your behavior because of them. Okay. Keep doing that chop, right? Keep wearing that face paint. Keep wearing the regalia. Do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, this is a free country, and I'm sick and tired of this woke, triggered society always boohoo, whining, crying, being butthurt over crazy stuff, over silly stuff. Again, there's a whole industry behind this. There's a whole industry behind people that boohoo, whine, and cry racism for money. This guy would not have a job if he wasn't crying racism all day, right? He wouldn't have a job, wouldn't be able to survive. He has no other skills outside of crying racism, which takes no skill at all, right? Takes no skill at all. So again, this is why the industry needs to be defunded, and this is why they should be sued into oblivion. So again, I hope that they announce a lawsuit against Deadspin. I would really love to see that. I would love to see this guy, Karen, face some consequences in regards to potentially being fired for writing this article, because any respectable and decent outlet will fire a writer who puts out these types of defamatory statements, putting their business at risk, okay, because of his race hustle. He doesn't have any other skills outside of, again, crying racism. It really is a shame. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
All right. There we go. So yeah, that there is a big problem with that, and people are calling it out, and that's what it takes, man. And maybe we're coming to a tipping point with this, man. Maybe people are getting so sick of it that they're ready to call it out at every point. We've got to keep doing it. You know, that's the way. That's the way to do it. That's just the way to do it. And just so you guys remember, man, when it comes to certain people, they don't even call it out at all when they're actually really doing race grifting, right? Remember this? Like that, this. Oh yeah, remember her? Remember her? Elizabeth Warren, right? When her whole life saying she was a Native American, turns out she has very little Native American blood at all. But she put it down for applications. She got awards for it. I mean, come on, dude. Look at this. Look at Native American. And then when Trump finally had her do the heritage test, right? She had less a Native American than he did. Yeah, race grifter, but she got to pass, and she even got to run for president. How about that? She still sits in the Senate, I believe. And this is Karen Phillips. This is the guy who started the whole mess with the Kansas City the kid, and total race baiter. Total race baiter, and that's how he needs to be labeled. So let's label the people who are really doing it what they are, right? Yeah, Pocahontas, that's right. Remember her? Yeah, yeah. She didn't get any heat for that, any heat at all. Even when it was exposed, she got no heat. This kid goes to a game. He's dressed up like a chief because they're the Chiefs, and there are people dressed up like Eagles at Eagles games. They don't call them. They're trying to culturally appropriate, an animal. What about the people at the Raiders games? They're not trying to culturally appropriate pirates. It's like, what in the world are we doing these days when people are allowed to get away with this amount of race grifting, right? This amount of race baiting, but then a kid goes to a game and it's all over the place and people are just jumping on it. That's why it takes people standing up and calling it out to make it go away. And we've been putting up with it for way, way too long. And all it's doing is dividing us. It's another one of those mechanisms that are out there to divide people and to keep us from coming together and unifying and taking down the corruption in our system. It's another thing. So yeah, people like this get a pass, right? Well, hopefully this guy won't get a pass. I'd like to hear that he's going to get fired for this. He doesn't deserve to have a job where he has reach, that kind of reach, where he can go after a child, right? Karen Phillips, the race baiter, right? He's probably been doing his whole life and get away with it. And it's just, there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse. There you have it. All right, chat, what you got for me? Birds aren't real. Yeah, but eagles are. There we go. Air's conspiracy to make you will yourself to death when you drown. All right, defaming a minor. Yeah, he defamed a minor. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. We live in the Council of States of America. Yeah, we sure do. Yeah, well, I heard some talk about the Elon stuff. That was pretty good. It doesn't really quite fit into the topic of the evening, but I do appreciate the fact that he took such a bold stand. And yeah, he's right. It couldn't have costing them the company, or it could at least put them in a different state where they have to reorg or something like that. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope there's enough outrage behind that BS. And of course, that too was a was on the tails of another group, the ADL, that likes to label people as the opposite, usually, of what they are, just for their own benefits. And then you have the corporate sponsors that just jump off the deep end immediately and pull their funding as a way of like financial blackmail, right? Because you get that income coming in, you have a business deal, it's written into your fund, your budgeting, right? And then they're going to go, okay, now we're going to hold it against you to make you do what we want to do. And we've talked about some of these tactics last night on Unveiling Reality, when we talked about the WEF, right? And their plan for taking over the world, basically, and controlling it through their vision of their own personal stakeholder utopia, where they're in charge of everything, and we will have nothing and love it. We'll own nothing and love it. And a lot of those groups that, if you guys remember, a lot of those groups we listed off that are part of that WEF group, they would pay into 60,000 to $500,000 a year to be part of it, right? Are some of the sponsors that pulled away from X, from Elon's Twitter. And so yeah, they're all working in collusion together, in a conspiracy together, real live, open, honest to God, provable conspiracy, to manipulate the world through their power and their control. Right? Karen should be a political victim and flee to Venezuela. Here, the government protection is given equally there. There you go. Jacob Pete says, winning. We were only discussing it because it was railing against the journalistic class, very much included in the interviewer, who was being incredibly slimy. Yeah. Yep. I hear that. I hear that. No worries. I wasn't complaining about that at all. I was just saying, I was going to maybe show the clip, and I was like, well, it probably doesn't need to go. I can be a little bit, I can be a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, OCD or something about my topics in terms of like, how they fit into each subject line. There is a little bit of organization going on here, barely, but a little bit. But we already, me, and journalists don't mess well, so it shouldn't be no surprise I was screaming about them. Oh, no, me either. I hear you on that. Yeah, I hear you on that. Yeah, but it takes people like Black conservative and his name's Greg Foreman and Brandon Tatum and others to stand up and call out the BS, man. That's what's really needed now more than ever. I know a lot of people use their reaches for different things, but I like to see those kind of strong channels and individuals, stand up and say something when the time comes. And they normally do. Those two guys are great. If you're not subscribed to their channels, please subscribe to them. I do show them a lot on this show because I like what they have to say. They're doing the good work out there. They're doing the good work of what it takes, and to stand in front of racism. Like, the people like Karen Phillips is a race. That's the modern racist. I said this a long time ago. I said race baiters are the new racists. They are the real ones out there because they perpetuate it. They try to turn everything, make everything about race. So when you're always thinking about race, doesn't that kind of make you a racist? If that's the only thing you can think of, doesn't it? That's the modern racist. It's in the form of a race baiter. Always out there making everything about race. A race under every rock. Everything is about race to them. That's how, and it turns into a grift, right? So yeah, the race baiter and the race grifter walk hand in hand, right? It's only when it becomes like part of what they do, or when it becomes a part of who they are, that they are one or the other. It's like they're interchangeable. Guess when you're making money off of it, you're the grifter. When you're the baiter, you're just always bringing it up. Everything's about the race. Everything's about the race. And I think we need to get away from that. Yeah, here we go. I love this one. Yeah, I played that one a lot. You actually, yeah, do I still have that one up here? I might still have that one up here. Let's see. I think I saw it earlier. Sometimes I have so many clips in here that I have to like kind of I have to kind of like delete some of them in order to make room. So sometimes they fall off. But I swear I saw Morgan's face on here somewhere. Yeah, I might take that one down. But yeah, I had that same clip. Alexander, I had that same clip. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes by him. Tatum, Anthony, Brian, Logan. ONG Time Watcher. I'm not sure what that means. So, oh no, it's the it's StreamYards. It's StreamYards. StreamYards only lets you keep so many clips at once, and I have tons of them on here. So I have to kind of keep cleaning them out so I can add new stuff in. And I try to do a new clip every week for the show. And I also have intros for people that come on the show, and I have some handy and I have some just fun ones that I play from time to time when important. Hey, to all the people who are standing in front of the race grifters.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
We sure are. We sure are. Yep. Because as you all know, race grifting is totally yeah, man. So hey, guys, what do you think? Yeah, rest in peace. Did Leslie Nielsen pass away? One of my favorites. One of my favorites. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be figuring out a redirect here because as we start to conclude this show, I think we're going to send this over. Let me get this straight. We're going to go over to the expert tonight. He got a new lamp, by the way, if you haven't seen it. It's pretty wild. It's pretty awesome. Definitely worth checking out. So we'll give him some love tonight. If you haven't seen the expert, you'll enjoy it. It's a good crowd over there, Alexander. You might enjoy some people over there. Let's see. Get this straight. Oh, here we go. Finally, it's showing back up again. What we got here? How come I don't see him up? What? I don't see it. I'm missing this. Is Outpost live? Hold on a second, guys. Chat amongst yourself for a second. Oh, it is up. Oh, did he? Okay. It's like Kaiser is live. Is Outpost live? All right, we're gonna do that. We're gonna hook up our friend Outpost tonight. With some love. So you guys make sure you subscribe to Outpost. He's an up and coming channel. And now I gotta find him. So stick around to the end so we can all go over there together and say hello. Like to help out our friends. I didn't realize they were dual streaming. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it. All right, we're all set up, saved. Okay. Banter. Yes, Outpost is live. Raid coming up. Here we go. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I'll be back Saturday night. It's going to be me and you, Winning Reality and the crowd, hanging out. We're going to have some fun. You know how I do those nights. It's just a lot of fun. We watch videos together. We talk. If something changes between now and then and I get a guest, then I'll update you and let you know. But for now, it's just going to be us, man. We just have a good time when it's just us too. So like I promised, I would be doing more of those. But if it changes, I'll let you know. And by the way, Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Old School Watch Party Sundays, we'll be doing consuming kids. It's about the marketing of childhood, the consumerism of childhood, and kind of like we'll be talking about hints and tips on how to kind of prevent that and how to kind of solution that for the future, so we don't have so much of that. And then we're going to be watching PCU, which is Politically Correct University. It's a comedy. It's hilarious. I'm telling you, man, I love that movie. It's got so many good one-liners in it. It's just amazing. It's a good old-fashioned fun movie, and we're going to be having a lot of fun with that. So I hope you guys will join us for that. And otherwise, have a good night. And until next time, keep on winning.
It's time to take a stand and repair our history. Thomas Sowell has shown us the way. It's time to start winning reality. We've been divided for far too long. It's time to come together and be strong. We can learn from our mistakes and make a brighter future for everyone. We have the power to make a change. All it takes is courage and faith.